This is probably one of the coolest perks about using the Tesla on the road trip. We out here at the Tesla Supercharger out here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm on my way back home to Gilbert, Arizona, and right now I got myself a Tesla Model 3 rented off a courtesy of Turo. And a lot of people don't even know how good of a vehicle the Teslas are for doing road trips. You know, you got a love-hate relationship. A lot of people, either you love it or you hate it. Now, I'm here to tell you the good side, as well as, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna share with you some of the negative stuff, because believe it or not, there's a lot more positive to road tripping a Tesla than you may think. So this is my first stop along the trip, and the good thing about Tesla road trips is that when you decide to do routing your whole road trip, the car does a lot of the work for you. All you gotta do is find the spot, park it, open up the thing, and plug it in. And all the payment information is handled directly through Tesla. When you show up to charge, the charging is billed directly to the owner of whatever Tesla you get. So more than likely, it's going to be you paying whatever charges you come up with at the end of your trip. So I'm inside the Tesla right now, and I'm about to start my trip. All you gotta do is go to navigate, put in your address, and let the Tesla do the rest. First, come up here to navigate, type in where I'm going. Gilbert, Arizona. 253 miles. It's thinking, give it a second. It's gonna show your charger destinations. In a second, this is gonna zoom in to get ready for my trip. So it tells me how much time it's going to take to get to my next stop, which is the next charger station, how much battery percentage I'm going to have when I get there, as well as how many miles it takes to get there. It's 85 miles to my next stop, and right now I have 156 miles. So the way they calibrate it is just so precise where you get just enough to how much you need. Not to mention with all the autopilot features that come on this, it makes driving however far you got to go way easier. So much more of a breeze. Autopilot functions in here. Charging, pedal steering, make sure you get everything correct. However you want it. I got it set to standard, sport steering. I got on hold, and regenerative braking, got it on standard. Go through controls. You can go in here and change, your glove box, child lock, mirrors. Change all these features however you want them to be, as well as the display. You can change the brightness, dark mode, light mode, automatic, however you want. And if you want to Bluetooth your phone, click down here, connect new phone. It's so simple. And just like that, we're ready for our trip. All right, so we're ready to go. Now, if you're like me and you're just renting a Tesla just to be able to take advantage of the benefits of renting a Tesla just for a road trip, then more than likely you're going to be able to have to use the little key, the Tesla key that comes with every single Tesla, usually given to someone who's going to be borrowing it. You see it right there? It says Tesla right there. You see it says tap key card and press brake to drive. So when you first get in the car, you need to put it right here and push your foot on the brake. After that, you'll be good to go. You see the route's already planned out right there, destination, time, everything. Set your music, you're good to go. And if you're someone who's never driven a Tesla, don't be intimidated, because yeah, it may seem a little weird at first, especially if it's just your first time ever being in one. But just like anything, just like riding a bike, you can get used to it. It's not as hard as you may think. Don't let the experience overwhelm you. The cool thing I love about this is this instant acceleration. Now, is it worth it? Like, most rental cars are not going to be electric as far as most people's knowledge. A lot of people think, like a regular Honda Civic, Hyundai Sonata, Toyota Camry, or Chevy Equinox or something like that, something regular for your rental car. And usually it's not about $50 a day or anything like that. But when it comes to Turo, you can have access to people's private owned cars, or they have a private owned fleet of vehicles. So these people, individual people, can be represent themselves as an individual business. Woo, here we go. One thing that benefits getting a Tesla rental opposed to a regular car is being able to enjoy the drive while you have it. Being able to feel the exhilaration of a high-speed vehicle. All you hear is air noise, just whoosh. And I just barreled down this off ramp like a bullet on meth. This thing is ridiculous. And the thing that's surprising about it, this is just an entry level Tesla. Tesla Model 3. Tesla Model 3 with full range is about 260 miles. Now, if you get the dual motor one with the extended battery, it's closer to like 360, so like another 100 or so. All depending on how you drive the vehicle. Another benefit that you get from renting a Tesla, the simplicity of all this technology right in front of you, all right? You got access to all your controls, steering wheel pedal, the way it feels when you got standard chill, steering wheel, sport. I can put it in comfort so it more resembles more to like a regular car. Regenerative braking, I can put it to low so it doesn't feel so exaggerated when I let go of that brake. You know, it feels more like a standard car. The thing I like about this a lot is that this is actually a lot simpler than you may think. Because when you first start using it, it seems a little overwhelming. It's like, oh, there's so many things. But actually, once you just understand the layout, it's pretty simple. You just push the car button, home, everything's right there. All your main important things: charging, autopilot, locks, lights, display, trips, navigation, safety, service, software, upgrades. Everything is super simple and easy to use. My steering wheel, look at this. And something that's trendy and cool that I like about the Teslas is when it comes to doing like little things like adjusting your steering wheel. You gotta roll this knob down. Now watch this. Look how much this is going down and how fast it is. Just here's the thing. I'm just gonna get to the straight to the main point, the big selling point to why it's such a good deal. You can get one of these cars for the same price as what you would expect to get from a rental car company. Toyota Camry, Honda Civic, Toyota Highlander, 4Runner, maybe not even 4Runner, Pre-Runner. But the main point I'm getting at is if you could get this vehicle for $50 a day, that's like a good deal, right? And that's possible and feasible with the use of Turo. Turo, make sure you hit me up. I gotta elaborate on the pricing setup of this thing because the way they charge it by kilowatt hours. But the thing is, some of these places can have a price that's twice the price of another place for the same amount of kilowatt outage. Now, one of the downfalls of these supercharge stations that a lot of people may not know about is these supercharge stations put out a certain amount of power, and then each car that plugs up has to kind of share that power. So it's not like you get all the full power that it's advertised, saying that this station is able to do that kind of power, but the amount you get is going to be dependent upon how many people are charging there. That's going to depict how fast or slow it's going to be going. But to get straight to the point, charging this thing up to be able to get to my next destination compared to how much time you have to stop to get gas, the price is actually pretty reasonable. With only having to spend $12 to $15 for a 30-minute charge and being able to get most of my charge back, that's pretty darn good, especially compared to the price of gas nowadays. And of course, you can't talk about road tripping a Tesla without talking about the autopilot system. When you go inside here and you check out the autopilot, there's a lot of things that this thing is able, as far as cruise control, lane position, driving ability, avoiding other traffic, staying within the lines, and making you feel nice and safe. This thing does a pretty darn good job at it. When there's cars in front of you, say if I set the speed limit to 71, if I set the speed higher, it will accelerate up to that speed limit, up into the point to where there's a car in front of you, or just cruise at that speed limit. You'll get the warnings about you getting out of the lane when you're in cruise control. So a word of advice, if you have it in cruise control, make sure you use the blinker before switching lanes, because if you try to switch lanes without using the blinker, usually it'll go and send you and try to keep you in that lane. The corrective steering will kind of take over, unless you set the settings to intervene while you're driving normally too. But even when you're in autopilot, you can set it and it'll drive itself pretty darn fast if you want it to. Now I'm going to give you an example of the full autopilot, the self-steering mode that it has. Now, just so you know, it doesn't let you drive completely by yourself, all right? Just upfront warning. One of the rules they've implemented for using this, it has to feel pressure on the steering wheel. So you have to be applying pressure somewhere on the steering wheel. But the thing is, if you apply too much pressure like this, it sets it free. So then it knocks it back out. But at the same time, there's a noticeable amount of resistance. Like the amount of resistance that you notice is ridiculous. Put it back on cruise control. And it's almost like I can take my brain out of the equation right now. I got my fingers on there. And right now it's just, all I got right now is just a little bit of pressure on the steering wheel. I just got a little pressure on the steering wheel. That's it. The vehicle is able to maintain straight pretty much by itself. Even though I'm going pretty relatively straight, when I come to this turn, I promise you, it's not me doing the turning. I promise. Like, watch this. Let's see. how long it'll go turn. As soon as it's gonna give me a warning saying, grab the steering wheel, grab it, grab it. Watch. Let's see how long it'll go. Let's see, it's making this turn by itself right now. It's not a really sharp turn, it's really steady. I'm just gonna give it a little feedback, let it know I'm still there so it don't get too upset. This is probably one of the coolest perks about using the Tesla on the road trip. And it's maintaining this nice curve pretty easily, pretty steadily. It feels pretty secure. Like when you press on the steering wheel, you feel like there's resistance. It feels like there's somebody else holding the steering wheel and you're trying to interrupt them or something like that. 5:27, I'll be there. 56 minutes, 63 miles. Let's see how much it's gonna cost to charge me up to get to the next stop. I'm here at my next supercharger station. You see the charger right there. All you gotta do when you arrive, put it in park, push the little button on the side of the door, you're ready to go charge. And when you look right here, you can see all the little schematics of the charging thing right there. You can see how much percentage I got right now. Looks like about 15%. And it says on my last charging session, I paid $8.12. Not bad if you ask me. And then it even says my next supercharger stop. And from here, it's 2 hours and 12 minutes to drive 129 miles. If I leave right now, I'll be at negative 39% battery. And it tells you how much time it expects to charge 25 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and get out here, get this thing plugged up, and if you stay tuned, you'll find out how much it's going to cost to get this thing charged. Now our charging is complete, and you'll get a message saying, charging, you have enough energy to complete your trip. It says my next stop is 2 hours away, 129 miles. Let me check up in here real quick to see how much my charging costs. Come in there, go home charging. From 15% all the way up to, what is that, 80%? Just below 80%, 13.75. How much would it cost to fill up your gas tank from 15% to 80%? Look at this view right here. See that? Like this view that I'm getting is ridiculous. I mean, you get clouds and everything. And the vehicle's so quiet too. That's one thing I just really like about it. Love how quiet it is. Pros and cons aside, this vehicle drives pretty good. I'd say it's pretty smooth, especially around the corners because this thing has the battery down low, so it means it has like a low center of gravity, so it's able to handle the roads pretty good. Like even on like little curves, even though it doesn't have like the most sportiest suspension, its center of gravity does help it as far as the way it feels going down the road. Now, I'm more than certain that most of you are wondering what's the seating like sitting inside the Tesla on a long road trip. And let me tell you that it's actually not that bad. Granted, it's not the best inside here. You know, there's not like massaging seats or something like that. It's not a 16-way adjustable. It's actually quite standard, but it's got a slight plush feel to it. Like it looks like a marshmallow, and it kind of low-key feels like one too. So at nighttime, the display shifts to like night mode. So like I said, it's similar to like how most people's phones are. So it makes it a little easier to see, but the screen is still nice and bright and clear. When you're getting close, you can see your final destination. Mine being Supercharger Wickenburg. It shows how much my battery life is going to be when I get there, how far I am from it, and you pull up Tesla charging destination. All right, let's see how much it's going to cost to charge it up this time. To continue trip, it says estimated charge time needed is 15 minutes. Now, after sitting in there, a couple hours at a time, you start to wonder, is it worth to rent one of these opposed to like renting a gasoline car? I mean, if you think about it, you're probably gonna have to stop to get gas about every 2 hours anyway. Plus, not to mention, you're probably gonna want to stretch your legs anyway as well. So if you take that into account, plus the automatic route choices that the Tesla makes based upon the supercharger locations and where you're going, because most of the superchargers are right along the main freeway anyway. So when you look at the bright side, it's kind of like you get a little chance to take a break, stretch, get out, move around. The biggest inconvenience is the time, but it comes with so many other luxuries. And just like that, I got more than enough charge to continue the trip. By the time I get there, I'll have 37% battery. Battery's almost full now, and I only let it charge for about 15 minutes. So what was my fee? $15.56 and rolling. Let's turn this off now. Stop charging. Unlock charge port. I'm finally at my last charging spot, and this time I got a good amount of charging rate. I got 400 and about 15 miles per hour for charging. just under 40%, and I only got to get this thing up to 90%, just above 90% before I return this thing. And to finish charging this thing up, it's probably going to be about maybe $10, just looking about how much I got to do right there. So in all, it's about the same price as like a reasonably priced, or I should say moderately priced rental car. This vehicle only being $50 a day minus tax and the service fees and everything. I'd say that's a pretty reasonable price. So we're kind of at a quid pro quo kind of situation. Do you care more about being able to fuel up quickly, but you're driving around a regular old car? Or do you not mind being a little patient, charging up for a little bit, and having a vehicle that performs so much more better than just your typical regular car? The decision is really up to you because it's all about preference, honestly, when you get down to it. I hope this video is informative to you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.